biggest lottery winners ever and where they are now. Somewhere out there, tucked into wallets and glove compartments and kitchen drawers, are tickets worth almost nothing, until, once in a blue moon, one of them turns out to be worth almost everything. Lottery jackpots have created some of the strangest overnight transformations in modern history, turning gas station clerks, hospital workers, and Target employees into instant billionaires in waiting. But winning the money is only the first chapter. The real story is what happens after the cameras leave, who thrived, who vanished, who gave it all away, and who quietly disappeared into a life most of us can only imagine. Today we're counting down the biggest lottery winners of all time, and finding out exactly where they are now. Let's start at the very top, with the single largest lottery win in world history. On November 7, 2022, a Powerball jackpot climbed to a staggering $2.04 billion, the biggest prize any lottery has ever produced anywhere on the planet. The winning ticket was purchased at a small gas station in Altadena, California, and the man who walked away with it was a then 31-year-old named Edwin Castro. Castro chose the lump sum payout, which after taxes came out to roughly $997 million. Still not quite $1 billion in hand, but close enough that the difference barely matters. What makes Castro's story interesting isn't just the size of the win, it's what came before and after it. He grew up in a solidly middle-class family, split his childhood between Altadena and La Crescenta, played football and baseball in high school, and was actually an Eagle Scout before he ever bought a lottery ticket. After his win, he leaned hard into real estate, buying multiple luxury properties, including a sprawling estate in Bel Air and an oceanfront home in Malibu. But real life caught up with him in early 2025, when devastating wildfires tore through the Los Angeles area and destroyed that same Malibu home. Rather than simply rebuild for himself, Castro made headlines again by purchasing more than a dozen lots in the fire-ravaged Altadena area, the same community where he grew up, with the stated intention of building homes for families to actually live in, not to rent out. It's a strange full-circle moment. The biggest lottery winner in history, buying back pieces of the neighborhood that shaped him, in the wake of the very disaster that took his own home. Just below Castro on the all-time list sits a jackpot that very nearly matched his. In October 2023, after 35 consecutive drawings without a winner, the Powerball jackpot ballooned to $1.765 billion. The winning ticket was sold in the small mountain town of Frazier Park, California, and claimed through a group represented by a man named Theodorus Strike. The cash value on that one came out to roughly $774 million. Group wins like this tend to fade from public view faster than solo winners, since the prize gets divided, and the story loses some of its single hero simplicity, and that's largely what happened here. The group has kept an extremely low profile since claiming the prize, which, frankly, financial advisors will tell you is usually the smartest possible move. Then there's a jackpot that actually predates both of those, and in some ways is the most famous lottery win of all, simply because of how strange the story around it was. Back in January 2016, a Powerball jackpot hit $1.586 billion, and rather than going to one lucky person, it split three ways. One ticket was sold in Chino Hills, California, one in Munford, Tennessee, and one in Melbourne Beach, Florida. The Tennessee ticket belonged to John and Lisa Robinson, a couple who became instantly recognizable for their humility and their refusal to let the money change who they were. The Florida ticket went to Maureen Smith and her partner David Kaltschmidt, who famously said in their first press conference that they planned to just keep living quietly and maybe get a boat. The third share, from California, was claimed anonymously and has never been publicly identified to this day. What's fascinating about this three-way split is how differently the winners handled fame. The Robinsons did a handful of interviews, expressed gratitude, and then largely retreated from the spotlight to focus on family and quiet philanthropy. The anonymous California winner did something even smarter, vanishing entirely, joining the small club of jackpot winners who took the money and simply chose to never be found by the public again. Speaking of staying hidden, one of the largest Mega Millions jackpots ever awarded went to a woman in South Carolina in October 2018, when the prize hit $1.537 billion. She never revealed her name, claimed the money through an LLC as many high-profile winners now do specifically to protect their privacy, and chose the lump sum option, which worked out to a little under $500 million after taxes. But what makes her story stand out is generosity, rather than mystery. Reports at the time indicated she shared a significant portion of her winnings with local charities in South Carolina, before disappearing from public life entirely. In an era where jackpot winners are hounded by relatives, strangers, and scam artists the moment their name becomes public, her decision to stay anonymous while still giving back quietly is often cited by financial planners as close to a best-case scenario playbook for handling sudden wealth. Not every winner has had that luxury. Wisconsin is one of the few states where lottery law flatly does not allow winners to remain anonymous, and that rule turned a 24-year-old named Manuel Franco into a household name whether he wanted it or not. In March 2019, Franco bought $10 worth of Quick Pick Powerball tickets at a Speedway gas station in New Berlin, a suburb outside Milwaukee, on his way home from a normal day. When the numbers hit, he described going, in his own words, absolutely insane, checking and rechecking the ticket, screaming for nearly 10 minutes, straight before he could even process what had happened. The jackpot came out to $768.4 million, at the time the third largest Powerball prize ever awarded. Franco took the lump sum, which came to a little over $326 million after taxes. At his first press conference, visibly still in shock, he told reporters he intended to live as normal a life as possible and that people would never see him end up broke or bankrupt, like so many lottery winners before him. In the months that followed, Franco actually backed that promise up with action rather than just words. He was photographed handing out Target gift cards to strangers on Mother's Day, at the very same Target he used to work at before his win, surprising shoppers with envelopes of cash and refusing to make a big show of it. He also floated giving away $50,000 to 50 different people through social media, a gesture that, whether or not every dollar was ever tracked publicly, reinforced the image of a guy who genuinely wanted to spread the good fortune rather than hoard it. Since those early years, Franco has mostly faded from headlines, which by most accounts is exactly what he wanted. A young man from West Allis, Wisconsin, who got the wildest possible curveball life could throw, and, as far as anyone can tell, has managed to avoid the classic lottery curse pitfalls that swallow so many winners whole. Rewinding slightly further, in August 2017, a Massachusetts hospital worker named Mavis Wansik became an instant legend when she won a $758.7 million Powerball jackpot, which at the time was the largest jackpot ever claimed by a single ticket holder anywhere in the United States. Wansik, from Chicopee, Massachusetts, walked into her lottery win the same way most of these stories start, an ordinary errand on an ordinary day, and walked out of it as one of the wealthiest working-class Americans in history. She chose the lump sum, and, notably, said in interviews immediately afterward that she planned to retire from her hospital job right away, a decision most people would find pretty understandable after landing a fortune that size. Wansik has kept an extremely low public profile in the years since, occasionally cited in lottery retrospectives but almost never appearing in new interviews, which suggests she took the money, took her privacy, and quietly built a life away from cameras. Then there's the story of Yanira Alvarez, whose win doesn't always make the biggest headlines but stands out for a very human reason: the sheer length of time it took for her identity to become public. Alvarez purchased her winning Powerball ticket at Las Palmitas Mini Market in downtown Los Angeles, and California Lottery officials didn't officially confirm her as the winner until more than 5 months after the drawing had already happened. That kind of delay is almost always a sign of a winner working closely with lawyers and financial advisors behind the scenes before ever stepping into the public eye, setting up trusts, tax strategies, and security measures long before anyone outside her inner circle even knew she'd won. And more recently, on Christmas Eve of 2025, a single ticket sold at a Murphy gas station near a Walmart in Cabot, Arkansas landed the second largest jackpot in U.S. lottery history, with a lump sum cash option north of $834 million. As of now, that winner has chosen to stay completely anonymous, joining the growing list of jackpot recipients who understand that in the age of social media and instant scrutiny, silence might be the single greatest asset money can buy. So what do all of these stories actually tell us? When you step back and look at the full picture, a few patterns show up again and again. The winners who tend to avoid trouble are almost always the ones who moved slowly, hired real financial and legal help before making a single big purchase, and resisted the urge to broadcast their new lifestyle to the world. The ones who stayed grounded, people like Manuel Franco quietly handing out gift cards, or the Robinsons choosing family over fame, tend to be remembered fondly, while flashier stories of sudden wealth gone wrong have become almost a genre unto themselves in American pop culture, a cautionary tale as old as the lottery itself. And then there are the true ghosts of the list, the anonymous winners in South Carolina, in California, in Arkansas, who took the biggest financial windfalls imaginable and simply chose never to be found, proving that sometimes the smartest move a billionaire can make is to make sure nobody ever knows they're won at all. From Edwin Castro rebuilding fire-ravaged neighborhoods in California, to Manuel Franco slipping cash to strangers in a Target parking lot, to nameless winners who took the money and vanished without a trace, the biggest lottery wins in history all share one thing in common. For a single, impossible moment, an ordinary person's life split cleanly into a before and an after. What they did with that after is where the real story always lives, and it's a reminder that no matter how big the number on the check is, the choices that come next are the ones that actually define the legend. That's where they are now, and if the lottery keeps growing the way it has the past few years, it's only a matter of time before somebody else's Ordinary Tuesday turns into the next chapter of this list.